videos and the co-impacting and all that sourcing stuff, you know. And I think it changed his perception a little bit. And then my son Michael was with me too.
I'm so glad you got to go.
Yeah, I
was bummed. It looks like your night was awesome, and it looks like Brooke's night in Kentucky was awesome too. It was the same night.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, so pretty cool that you guys got to do that. So anyway.
I was happy. And I used Zoom for the first time yesterday. I had a training with my team, and we used Zoom. I had them all download the app and whatnot, and then we were able to get Jasmine in from Provo to be part of our meeting.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's going to be big.
I do too. I mean, like I told you before, I just did a one-on-one even with Shauna in 29 Palms a while ago, and I was able to share my screen, and we were able to look at the back office. We were trying to figure out, you know, someone under her was struggling with their order, and we were able to go in together and look at it, and it's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, did you say that you can record these? Can these videos be put on YouTube?
Yes. So I'm recording right now, and as soon as I finish, I will upload it to YouTube and also post it on the page, but it'll be on my YouTube channel. I have a Bottle Balance YouTube channel. So,
yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking that I want to do.
Right.
It's going to be good to have that available to other people.
Yeah, totally cool. Okay, we will get started. It's 11:32, and people are chiming in, so awesome. I am going to quickly mute everybody.
It's been working too well on me.
Okay, go ahead and lock it.
Oh.
Quickly do this. Okay, we'll get going. I'm excited about this class and this topic. So let's get right in there and start talking about things. Today, we have talked about all kinds of sharing and building and getting people to classes and working on our attendance and making sure that we are doing classes and reminder calls and host coaching and incentives. And now it's the time where, you know, these classes are happening, and now all of a sudden we're all starting to sign up people. And that's awesome. We love it. We're ready to start doing that. But sometimes there's a little bit of a question as to how do I do this? Where do I start? Where do I place people? What is my responsibility? What if I don't have any builders yet? And so hopefully we're going to go over a bunch of that information today. We already know that, you know, doTERRA is the best, and products are awesome, and they sell themselves. And now this is becoming a real business for us. So we want to now start talking about that, and not really focus on this call at all on necessarily our classes, but specifically just on the business side of things. And I will love it. I would love it. Even though I've muted all you guys, I'm going to unmute you occasionally so that you guys can see a little bit about, sorry, distracted a little bit, so that you guys can chime in. I would love this for this to be a discussion and for people to chime in. And I know Brooke's on the call, and she's been building for a really long time, so I hope she can chime in and help throughout this whole thing. So I think that as we start going into this, I think it's very important that we all can answer the question that people give us, and sometimes it's completely out of the blue when they say, oh, tell me about the compensation plan. And normally they don't use that wording, but usually they'll say something like, tell me a little bit about earning money, or tell me a little bit about the business side. And I think a lot of times we don't know how to answer that question. So one of the things that I wanted to go over just very briefly is that I really like the lead, the Edge Success, my business overview sheet. And I put that link in our Facebook page just now in our group. And I've got it in front of me. So hopefully if you have it in front of you, but it looks like this. And I think that this is probably one of the very best that I've seen so far on explaining the compensation plan and explaining to people just a little bit about how we're paid. And I spent a long time in doTERRA before I really understood all the different ways that we're paid. And I think probably all of you out there agree. And I'm not going to go into a ton of time on this. One of our assignments for homework will be to make sure that you do understand this. And if you don't understand this, you get with your sponsor, your enroller, somebody, and have us explain that to you. But I think that the inside of this page or of this brochure talks a lot about the unique benefits of doTERRA and why you should consider making doTERRA your upline or your pipeline. Talks about retail sales, talks about fast start bonuses, power of 3 bonuses, the unilevel, and the leadership pool bonus. So I also love the back page. It's a great place to kind of show people what the income potential is with this company. And I think that I truly believe that those numbers on there are very accurate. They're very average. I think that there's people in those ranks that are making well over those numbers. And I think that they've been very realistic and not using a number that's not realistic. So you need to make sure that you can sit down with somebody and explain this to them. And if you can't, then you need to take some time to be able to do that. But I want to kind of talk a little bit about my goal on this call, I think, is to help all of us understand the difference between enrollerships and sponsors and talk about placement and different things like that. But I want to tell you a little bit about my history with doTERRA, because I think all of us have different histories and different situations, not just with ourselves, but with our leaders. It's important that we understand the different walks of life that people come from and their different situations so that we can help them most. I think I've shared with you that one of my good friends, Karina Bracken, called me and actually got me started on the vitamins 6.5 years ago. I've been with the company clear back from the very beginning. And I was an avid user. She signed me up for LRP right away. I started using, but I had no intention of ever building doTERRA. But I was a user. I had that type of a personality. I didn't question her when she said that that LRP was what I needed to do. And I never questioned her when she said the best way to do this is to order at least $100 a month. In fact, you should order $125. I just did it. Even when months were bad for me, I would call Karina and let her know, or she would call me and say, hey, you haven't changed your order. What's up? What's going on? And I think I've shared with that before. And I think back in the early days, because I was willing to order and because I was consistently ordering, that is why Karina chose that she could build somewhat under me. And there were people that Lori and Karina placed strategically in their power of 3 underneath me because I was an orderer. I think now, in looking back, I certainly, like I said, have never had any intention of building. My upline, however, Karina, had a different intention for me. She always felt like I would see the light at some point and start building, which she was right. But that doesn't always happen for all of us. There's people that we put in our organizations that we sign up and we think, oh, they're going to be a great builder, or oh, they need to do this. And I've signed some of my very best friends up, and this isn't their thing necessarily, or they want it to be their thing, but it's not the right time. And I think that we have to always respect that. And I think that comes back full force into our very first call that we ever had, which is what is our why and what is their why and why that's so important for all of us to know. And I'll get into that a little bit more later. So as my team grew, as people grew underneath me and I started getting these little checks and then I started getting a little bit bigger checks, my husband and I both said, wow, what's going on here? And is this something that we should really be taking a look at? And we've kind of had a little bit of a up and down course with that because of owning my own business and things like that. But it hasn't always been, all right, let's do this. Let's jump in and do this until very recent. I would say probably, I've always attended convention. I've attended leadership since I became silver. I've always done those sorts of things, but it certainly has not been a full-time situation for me. I've just done my best to try and manage it, I guess I could say. So what I want to talk about, though, is that sometimes when these things happen, you have to take a strong look at your why and what's going on. There came a time for me, and no one ever approached me. No one ever came and talked to me and said, hey, Sue, if you're not going to do this, you need to think about making some changes. But I felt that. There were people below me that maybe were not getting the support that they deserved. And there were people above me that needed to give them the support, but were not necessarily being compensated for that. Not that that's always a have to be kind of thing, And I felt like I needed to make a decision. I needed to either say, okay, you know what, Karina, I love you and I love this product. And Lori, you've done nothing but support me through the years. But I just can't do this. I have to make a choice that I will be a user and I will occasionally share, but I am not going to necessarily be a builder. And therefore, what do I need to do to make it beneficial for you so that you guys can achieve rank and you guys can move on? Do I need to gift enrollerships to you? Do I need to step out of the way so that you can train my people more effectively than I am right now? Scott and I talked about that for quite some time, and we made the decision that we felt that doTERRA was a blessing in our lives, that we had been given this blessing, this huge blessing, and that we needed to engage and take full advantage of this, even though it came at a time in our life that wasn't the most beneficial time for us in the real estate business, but it was very important. We felt like it was an answer to prayers that we jump in and do things. So I kind of wanted to tell you a little bit about that story so that you would understand where I'm coming from. And I have, you know, my kids are involved in the company. My friends are involved in the company. I've placed people in strategic places for me as far as Power of Three is concerned, that at some point I'm going to have to gift enrollership if I'm going to see people underneath me grow and bloom and rank advance too. And I think that's what people misunderstand about this company is that you need to understand the relationship between Unilevel and your paychecks and Fast Start bonuses and enrollments. And that's what I'm going to try and hopefully explain to you today. Fast Start bonuses. Let's talk about Fast Start bonuses for just a second. As you know, for the first 60 days of anybody's enrollment, you get a 20%. If you're the enroller, you get a 20% Fast Start bonus. The person underneath you gets a 15% Fast Start bonus, and the person, above gets a 10% Fast Start bonus. I think I totally said that wrong. 25 and 20, 10, and 5. Sorry, gosh, what a day. Anyway, what's the purpose of that? I mean, I think that's everyone thinks it's a little bit of a bonus for you to signing up, and yes, it is for you signing up somebody and enrolling someone. It is a bonus, but overall, more than anything, it is compensation to you for the work that you've got to do in the first 60 days of this new enrollee's life in getting them up to speed with doTERRA. And I think that's where we missed the boat big time. I think for years I did personally because I wasn't building, but I think that it's something that we need to understand, that it is our responsibility to train that person and to get them up to speed in doTERRA. It's our responsibility to support them in any way we can, to teach them the back office, to give them the membership overview, to teach them about the product, to get them involved in group meetings, whatever it is, and of course to figure out their why, to find out their why. If they just want to order occasionally, if they are an LRP customer, if they are a sharer, an occasional sharer, or if this is something that they need to do to build, and you are compensated for all of that time as their sponsor. Now, we can't put everybody on our top line. I realize that. So you often have to you always have to decide where you're going to place that person. And that can be tough. It can be very tough if you don't have a lot of builders. It can be very tough if you don't feel comfortable about putting them anywhere. But as part of our homework at the very end of this, I'm really excited for you guys to listen to a webinar, but Haley Hobson teaches us that if there is not a comfortable fit for that person to go, you need to make sure that you understand that you are responsible for their training. And when you do place them underneath somebody, you need to make sure that you have a phone call with that person you're placing them under to make sure they're comfortable with training them. And you might find that you put them under someone and that person doesn't feel as comfortable training them as you feel good about, and you need to step in and help that person train them. That's very, very important that you understand that. And it can really be a situation that is a missed opportunity if you are not doing those membership overviews right from the very beginning. We talked about, I think in week 2 or week 3, about scheduling a 2-week membership overview. Super important. That's part of the deal with every single new enrollee. That needs to be written down in your calendar and gone over. When I say missed opportunity, there are several reasons why I say missed opportunity. The biggest reason is because this is your chance to get to know them and to get to know their why, to help them understand the product better, to not have frustrations happening. And I know sometimes with our back office and with LRP and with, if they don't go in and change their orders, things can be really frustrating. And people can get frustrated with us, with doTERRA, and just think, you know what, this is too hard. And that's why it's so important that anyone that's in your group gets ample training from you on all of it, on everything. So that's a little bit about fast starts. Haley Hobson in her webinar also talks a lot about placing builders under non-builders, or even just placing sharers under non-builders. You have to be very careful about that. And I think that a lot of us have gotten carried away in our building with trying to build for Power of Three. And I've kind of redirected my whole philosophy, and we're going to hear a little bit more about that later in the webinar, in a couple of webinars actually. And I'm strictly trying to build for rank now. And I feel very strong that if you build for rank, Power of Three will naturally come. I'm going to unmute you guys for just a second, because I want, as I'm going through this, I want Brooke to kind of jump in and kind of say, because I think, Brooke, if I remember, you have built a lot for for rank as opposed to Power of Three. You want to say anything about that?
You cut out a little bit. I've built more for rank than Power of Three. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Have you? Can you guys hear me okay?
Well, I actually haven't built more for rank until recently, and that totally makes sense to me. I never really, I mean, yes, I was going for rank, but Power of Three seemed like, oh, that's so much easier. But in the long run, it's not. Like, I really feel like if I'm building for rank, the Power of Three is going to come naturally, just like it shows and says. And I see that actually happening now more. And I also see my rank advancements being more attainable and realistic and feasible.
Agreed. Perfect. And that's kind of when you listen to these webinars that I'm going to share with you at the end, you're going to hear everyone say those things. They truly believe that building for rank is much more attainable than building for Power of Three. I started building from Power of Three from the very beginning. My first big push in doTERRA as far as leadership goes was about 4 years ago, about 4 years ago. And then I kind of got sucked back into real estate for a while, and then now, of course, I'm back full time. But during that time, I was very much building for my $1,500 bonus, big time. I mean, I was just trained that go for that $1,500 bonus because that's going to get some money. You know, you're going to get a paycheck quicker. But what I've learned is what happens when you start building for bonus first, you start being forced to put sharers or non-sharers under builders, or vice versa, all around, just to get that bonus going. And then you have legs just absolutely falling apart. And I'm seeing now that I'm switching my structure to building for rank, I can see how it will automatically start happening naturally. I mean, I think that in my mind right now, I'm building more for platinum and a $1,500 bonus, whereas before I was building for silver and a $1,500 bonus. It's just much more difficult. I want to read to you something really quick. There is a girl that I follow, and I think she's in Gina's downline, so she's in our group somewhere. Some of you may even know her, but her name is Keely. Oh my gosh, I can't remember her last name. But she has an Instagram account, and she started, I think I talked to you guys a little bit about her a while ago, but she started with doTERRA about 1.5 years ago, and went from just signing up as a brand new wellness advocate to being diamond in 12 months. And I think she walked stage at this last doTERRA convention. Every Monday, she does a Mentoring Monday on her Instagram account. If any of you are interested, I'm certainly happy to share that information with you. And I didn't ask her for permission to read this. I kind of feel like if it's out there and she allows people to follow her on Instagram, I can share it with my team. So I want to kind of read to you what she posted. She says, I want to touch on building strategies. If you are building a business with doTERRA, you should know that there are 2 ways to build: building to rank and building for your Power of Three. This is super important because your structure will make or break you getting some significant bonuses. From personal experience, I would highly advise you to build to rank, and your Power of Three will follow. Also, do not build under someone who isn't actively building. Just focus on who is currently building and know that you are leaving that attraction open for another or a few new strong leaders. Meaning, she's putting people under existing builders, even if you only have 1 or 2 builders. She's not trying to fill in those top 3 places just to fill them in to get the power of 3. In another post that she mentions, she says, you guys remember your top line is $1 million real estate. Because of the efforts that you are putting into your business, those top 3 people, those top 4 people, top 6 people have the best real estate in all of your entire line, because they're going to have your focus on them the very most. So keep that in mind. Even if you have to have someone be a placeholder for you, if you run out of places to build or whatever, wait for those strong builders to be ready to come to you. Stay positive about finding strong leaders. There are many of us that can see the big picture, speaking from experience. Sometimes it just takes the right timing, but when it clicks, it is pure magic. I hope you guys are finding these things helpful, blah, 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 blah. So I felt that was really interesting that she said only put people under builders. I think that a lot of us were trained a little bit differently, because that's kind of how things were done a while ago. But those of us that are now back in things and doing things again, it's starting to be more and more prevalent out there. In fact, I asked Karina one day, I said, will you just shoot a Blue Diamond message out for me and ask everybody if they're building for rank or if they're building for power of 3? And unanimously, they all came back and said, we're building for rank, we're building for rank, we're building for rank. So I think that's really good information. The other thing that I want to read to you that she put out there is the definition of a true builder. And I think this is where you guys really have to think about your why and decide who you are. It's okay to be a sharer. It's even okay to be an active sharer, someone that shares, that wants to go to convention, that wants to attend certain things, that wants to attend classes occasionally. But be clear with yourself. If you are not holding your own consistent classes, if you are not, or at least striving to get to that point, if you are not training the people that you're personally enrolling and the other people that have been placed below you, if you're not holding monthly classes, you're not a builder. A builder is someone who, and let me read the words of Keely, a builder is someone who actively wants to pursue sharing doTERRA as a business to supplement or replace their income. They spend 15 to 20 hours a week on educating themselves and others on the oils. They actively hold classes, one-on-ones, maintains at least 100 PV order monthly, and they have an entrepreneur mentality. First off, your front line is $1 million property. Truly, my team is going to hit over $100,000 in volume per month by December. If we are doing over $100,000 per month, that is over $1 million company in 2016. Do not give this real estate to just anyone. Be picky and be patient for the right person. So what do? You're enrolling a bunch of users and maybe a share or two, but you're waiting for that perfect fit. And then she goes on to talk about making sure you have strong conversations with everyone so that you understand what they want to do, what their expectations are and what your expectations are. This is huge. Don't assume anything about anyone. You need to have those conversations so people can be completely clear with you. It is no fun to bug people, and it's no fun to get bugged. I know that there were times when I felt pressure, not negative pressure, but I wasn't ready. It wasn't my time to do things. And maybe that had something to do with me making the decisions I made, but you want to make sure that you are being honest with your upline and your downline about what all those expectations are. So she talks about conversations, she talks about holding classes and one-on-ones and education and trainings and things like that. And the last thing that she says, and I can't remember exactly where this was, but I love the way she said, we can only match the efforts of the people below us. We can only match your efforts. So, and I feel very strongly about that. I'm willing to go above and beyond if I'm matching your efforts to get going. I will go to the end of the earth to help you. But it's hard if you're, and I know that you feel it, but you need to also be aware if other people are feeling it in your downline. Don't be the problem person. Be the person who really becomes aware of these types of things and tries to solve these things. And again, I want to stress to everybody, it's okay to not be a builder in this business. I think in this business, we all got in it because we love the oils. We didn't necessarily, there's probably very few of us that got in because they were searching for a business opportunity. The thing that you have to understand is it's not just about luck. It's not about, well, hey, I'll start using this product and I'll see if this network marketing business goes anywhere for me. It's about working hard. And those of us who choose to build and work hard, it is a serious business to us. And I think about when I listen to some of these webinars, Haley Hobson and the other webinar I'm going to have you listen to today with Kelly. There's just a few of them, Karina and Gina Truman. These women have stepped aside from other jobs and other businesses and other things to have huge businesses. This is a business for them. And when we're trying to attain that same type of business, we need to respect that, and we need to understand that it can't just be about luck. It can't just be about, hey, I'll just see what's going to happen below me, and if it works, it works. That's not what it's about at all. Am I making sense with that? Brooke, you want to add anything to that at all?
Sorry, I muted myself.
Okay.
I guess I just want to add that a lot of times as builders, we might have someone on our team that I don't want to say is blocking us, but kind of. I had an experience where I had to ask someone. I had built her. She's on my first line. In fact, she was the first person I ever signed up with doTERRA. And she loves the oil. She's passionate about them. She'll tell everybody about them, but she never signed anybody up. She just didn't know how to take it that step further. And she had a very busy life and wasn't really interested in learning. So I was there to offer, but I don't push people to do the business either. So it's, gone for a few years. She did sign up one person, and that one person happens to be the only person on her entire leg that is building. And I need that person for me to rank advance. I'm building business. And frankly, I'm working with this woman on a regular basis. I'm talking to people for her. I'm helping her teach classes, doing printouts. I'm using my time for her to grow, which I don't mind doing. But it finally came to the point where I decided I was going to ask for the enrollment of this person, because I was doing so much work, and, my time is valuable. It is. And not that I need that fast start bonus all the time, but you know what? If I'm helping her sign someone up with the Natural Solutions Kit, I kind of do want that 10%, fast start bonus. It would be nice. It would be helpful. And so I explained to the woman on my front line, I wanted to be very transparent, because I didn't ever want her to come back and feel like I had misled her into giving me this enrollment, or, so I gave her all of her options. And I said, think of it this way. Me going and helping this woman, that little check that you're getting every week, that's kind of like my compensation for helping her and supporting her. Whereas you're just kind of sitting back and collecting that check. And if you kind of put it in that perspective, it's like me going to work and someone else getting paid for my time. And she understood that. And she realized that I was, being very upfront, and I said, your large check is not going to change. You're going to get that monthly large check every single month, and it's only going to grow. The thing that's going to change for you are those small weekly checks that you're getting. You're not going to get those anymore. And she was very okay with it. She got that, oh yeah, I'm not working for those small checks. I'm just sitting back doing nothing for it. You do deserve that compensation, and it's fine, so I think it's okay for us as leaders to, at some point, I gave her years of chances too, and she just kind of said, this isn't working for me. And so we said, okay, then can I have that enrollment? And it worked out.
I think that's really good, Brooke. But I also think too that what we don't understand, which it's taken me a long time to figure this out too. It's not easy, but I think that once we empower that person, or let's just say the person in 2 down below you, you finally get that enrollment, you are engaging with that person, they continue to grow. The person in between, and that's the difference between unilevel and enrollership. That unilevel is going to actually grow, and it's never, ever, ever going to be taken away from that person.
Right. And that's what I told her.
Yeah.
Your large monthly check is only going to get larger.
Right.
It's
right.
just some small weekly checks that you will not be getting anymore.
Right. I think it's hard because you know, a couple things really quick here that, and then we'll close up. But I think that when we were sitting there on stage, or not on stage, when we were sitting there watching stage at a Silver Summit just this past, oh my goodness, I can't remember, right before convention, so August maybe, something that Justin Harrison put on. He had several people up on stage. The Rigbys were up there. There was a whole bunch of people that spoke, and he went down the row with them and asked every single person who are Blue Diamonds and above how many people they had personally enrolled in their business. And it was shocking to hear people like this say 75, 100. And that's because it's such a weird dynamic with network marketing. For instance, I am just coming into month 4 of my Diamond Club stuff. And because I'm out there, the whole goal to Diamond Club is helping each one of you grow your teams. I'm supporting you. I'm supporting Becky in New Jersey and Frankie in Las Vegas and next Diamond Club Brooke in Kentucky, but wherever. So my goal is to not go there and get a whole bunch of enrollments. Out of all of this, my 18 enrollments a month that I've done are not my personal enrollments. They're going back to you guys because you're the one that's inviting the people over. You're the one that's introducing these people to doTERRA. So you can see how, as I'm building my organization, I have all these people in my downline that I don't necessarily have personal enrollership for. And you never, ever know down the road when one of those people are going to take off. And in order for us to rank advance, we need that enrollership. You will hear on Haley Hobson's webinar that I want all of you to listen to. It's so awesome. She will say, you do not need to give up an enrollership ever, ever, ever until the person above you is ready for it. When I was ready to go silver, that is when I was gifted 2 enrollerships. I had my own personal enrollership, but I had 2 other people in my lake that I was working with, but that I actually did not have enrollership. And that's when I was gifted those. When Tanner, my son, is ready to go, and Jenica, when they're ready to go for silver, they will be, they will be gifted people under them that I am personally signed up for. That's just kind of how this business works and what we do. So it makes total sense to really understand the compensation plan and understand the business plan. And again, there is absolutely nothing wrong with being a sharer. No one ever, ever, ever made me feel like I needed to step aside from my business and give it up or give up my position or anything like that. I have always known that I'm going to have a great unilevel check. I just needed to make the decision if I was going to engage and help train and build and sponsor and enroll and be the builder person that I'm trying to be, or if I was just going to sit back and be a sharer. And it's okay if you make that decision. But again, those are the whys that you have to talk about. Is that making sense to everybody? I'm hoping that we kind of covered a bunch of that. Just want to see if there's anything else. I think that, one of the things that I read to you earlier is that when Keely Martinez said that when you do have that engaging thing, when it finally happens where you have those top line or those second line or those third line builders that you are working directly with, it's pure magic. And I feel that. If there's one thing that I have benefited from this training and from doing Diamond Club is having greater connection with all of you out there and feeling like we are working together, that we are working together for all of this. I know more about what your goals are and what you're trying to accomplish. And the cool thing is that we can help each other achieve those things if we are clear with each other on what the whys are, on what we're really trying to accomplish. So any questions on it? If you're all unmuted, if you want to unmute yourself, and then I'll give you homework. Any other comments about anything? Haley Hobson does such a way better job than me on her webinar. You will absolutely learn a ton from it and understand a little bit more about what I'm talking about as far as placement is concerned. Don't be scared to reach up to your upline and talk about placement before you actually place someone. It's really important that you make some decisions strategically as to what lines you're building and where they should go. And if you think, and I love the fact that Haley says in her webinar, and we listened to it for the 3rd time the other night when we were driving to California, and my husband kept kind of stopping it because every single person in this company has had organizational fall aparts, and you just have to know it's part of the deal. It's just what we all have to deal with, and it's hard, it's frustrating, But we get back up and we brush ourselves off and we just go on. We just keep doing what we're doing. So here's your homework. I'm going to be putting 2 webinars on, and I will do it the second I finish with this call, so they're out there. But and then this one will be followed up shortly. But the first one is Kelly, I think it's Kelly Anderson, and her webinar, Enrolling Those Who Enroll. I haven't posted that yet here, have I? I don't think so. Wonderful, wonderful webinar about enrolling those who enroll. And her whole take on finding builders and finding strong builders and what she sees in people and how she structures her organization. And then, of course, I'm going to post Haley Hobson's most recent, this was just a couple of weeks ago, her webinar on placement strategies, which is, in my opinion, phenomenal. And then, and let's take it from her. She's one of, Presidential Diamond in record time. She knows her stuff. She absolutely knows her stuff. So I encourage you all to listen to that. Go through the My Business Overview. Make sure you understand it. Make sure you can explain it to someone. If you can't, if you have questions, get with me, get with your upline, get with whoever so that we can talk about it and we can make sure that you can explain it, because there's nothing worse than having someone ask you, okay, tell me about the business, and you not being able to answer. And then, of course, finish Starfish. We're going to talk about it next week, and I'm really hoping we'll have a lot more people on the call that can participate in talking about Starfish and some of the things that jumped out at them. I'll probably post the book ahead of time so people can kind of start posting, their aha moments from the book and things like that. So we will be back here next Wednesday or next Tuesday. Thanks for being patient with me too this week, as I was kind of a little bit under the weather. So anything else, guys? Hey, thanks. Have a great day. Love y'all. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye.